You requested it, we made it. And here's what happened last time. All that is left are ashen bones. Now get ready for a story-driven episode of Let's Play Lost Odyssey. Thank you all so much for joining me back with Lost Odyssey. Today we are going to continue what we started with our Let's Play. Now, if you remember, Kaim was the lone survivor of a magical catastrophe, and we will be sent to investigate whether or not a site known as Grandstaff was involved. We also met someone else who may or may not be immortal, Officer Seth. Now, Gongora mentioned that we were part of an experiment, but could not tell the council what exactly was done to us. I want to thank you all so much for the response I got with the episode 1, and with the response I'm continuing to get. I'm so glad that you found Lost Odyssey to be interesting and something that you would like to continue to watch. And so we're going to make sure that we get these out to you regularly. Oh, what do we have here? Okay. So the tavern. Okay. Alright, so we're getting more world building. Just talking to each person as we can. I like how the pipes of the organ go all the way up. It's very realistic. More seeds. They're plentiful enough to be probably a significant part of something. But I cannot for the life of me tell you what. Did I remove that poster? I've talked to everyone here, right? Have I gotten everything? Nope. Okay. Let's check in here. Is this going to be the magic store? I think it is, if I remember correctly. I am wrong. Weapons and armor. And I cannot stop here to purchase anything. That's okay. Talk to you. And what's this gonna be? Oh, story.
And now, counselors, I propose that Gongora be removed from Grandstaff Project with control transferred to this council.
My lord!
In addition, until Lieutenant Argonar completes his investigation, I propose that Ngora be confined to his residence under surveillance.
Interesting.
Those who disagree with my proposal, raise your hands now.
It appears I have no choice but to agree.
I see there are no objections. It is decided.
So we get a bit more story from the last council meeting as we enter this building. Last council meeting, of course, happening in our previous episode.
As Kaim slips into deep sleep, his dream unfolds. A dream or his past. At this moment, there is no way he could know.
First person point of view, little girl on a cliff. Bright green eyes. Seeming to jump. Leap. Scraping pointlessly, uselessly at the ground. Weeping. Agony. As a woman, wearing glasses, turns around. Blue-eyed Kaim wakes, screaming the name of someone he doesn't remember. Realizing that his hands aren't filled with the soil that he so hopelessly grasped at, trying to save the unknown girl. A single tear falls on each side as he readies himself for this day, unable to remember the full details of his dream. He moves on and closes the door on what was. Alright, so Kaim calls a memory that is locked deep within his heart. A dream has been revealed. The family members have tears in their eyes when they welcome Kaim back to the inn from his long journey. Thank you so much for coming. He understands the situation immediately. The time for departure is drawing nearer. Too soon. Too soon. But still he knows this day would have to come sometime, and not in the distant future. I might never see you again, she said to him with a sad smile when he left on this journey, her smiling face almost transparent in its whiteness, so fragile, and therefore indescribably beautiful as she lay in bed. May I see Hannah now? He asks. The innkeeper gives him a tiny nod and says, I don't think she'll know who you are, though. She hasn't opened her eyes since last night, he warns Kaim. You can tell from the slight movement of her chest that she is clinging to a frail thread of life, but it could snap at any moment. It's such a shame. I know you made a special point to come here for her. Another tear glides down the wife's cheek. Never mind, it's fine, Kaim says. He has been present at innumerable deaths, and his experience has taught him much. Death takes away the power of speech first of all, then the ability to see. What remains alive to the very end, however, is the power to hear. Even though the person has lost consciousness, It is by no means unusual for the voices of the family to bring forth smiles or tears. Kaim put his arm around the woman's shoulder and says, I have lots of travel stories to tell her. I've been looking forward to this my whole time on the road. Instead of smiling, the woman releases another large tear and nods to Kaim. And Hannah was so looking forward to hearing your stories. Her sob almost drowned out her words. The innkeeper says, I wish I could urge you to rest up from your travels before you see her, but... Kaim interrupts his apologies. Of course, I'll see her right away. There is very little time left. Hannah, the only daughter of the innkeeper and his wife, will probably breathe her last before her son comes up. Kaim lowers his pack to the floor and quietly opens the door to Hannah's room. Hannah was frail from birth. Far from enjoying the opportunity to travel, she rarely left the town or even the neighborhood in which she was born and raised. This child was probably not to live to adulthood, the doctor told her parents. To this tiny girl, with extraordinarily beautiful, doll-like features, the gods had dealt an all too sad destiny. That they had allowed her to be born, the only daughter of the keepers of a small inn by the highway, was perhaps one small act of atonement for such iniquity. Hannah was unable to go anywhere, but the guests who stayed at her parents' inn would tell her stories of the countries and towns and landscapes and people that she would never know. Whenever new guests arrived at the inn, Hannah would ask them, Where are you from? Where are you going? Can you tell me a story? She would sit and listen to their stories with sparkling eyes, urging them on to new episodes with, and then? When they left the inn, she would beg them, Please come back and tell me lots and lots of stories about faraway countries. She would stand there waving until the person disappeared far down the highway, give one lonely sigh, and go back to bed. Hannah is sound asleep. No one else in the room. Perhaps an indication that she has long since passed the stage when doctors can do anything for her. Kaim sits down in the chair next to the bed and says with a smile, Hello, Hannah. I'm back. She does not respond. Her little chest, still without the swelling of a grown woman, rises and falls almost imperceptibly. I went far across the ocean this time, he tells her. The ocean on the side where the sun comes up. I took a boat from the harbor way, way, way far beyond the mountains you can see from this window. And I was on the sea from the time the moon was perfectly round till it got smaller and smaller, and then bigger and bigger until it was full again. There was nothing but ocean as far as the eye could see. Just the sea and the sky. Can you imagine it, Hannah? You've never seen the ocean, but I'm sure people have told you about it. It's like a huge, big, endless puddle. Kaim chuckles to himself, and it seems to him that Hannah's pale white cheek moves slightly. She can hear him, even if she cannot speak or see. Her ears are still alive. Believing and hoping this to be true, Kaim continues with the story of his travels. He speaks no words of parting. As always with Hannah, Kaim smiles with a special gentleness he has never shown to anyone else, and he goes on telling his tales with a bright voice, sometimes even accompanying his story with exaggerated gestures. He tells her about the blue ocean. He tells her about the blue sky. He says nothing about the violent sea battle that stained the ocean red. He never tells her about those things. Hannah was still a tiny girl when Kaim first visited the inn. When she asked him, "Where are you from?" and "Will you tell me some stories?" with her childish pronunciation and innocent smile, Kaim felt a slow glow in his chest. At the time, he was returning from a battle. More precisely, he had ended one battle and was on his way to the next. His life consisted of traveling from one battlefield to another, and nothing about that has changed to this day. He has taken the lives of countless enemy troops and witnessed the deaths of countless comrades on the battlefield. Moreover, the only thing separating enemies from comrades is the slightest stroke of fortune. Had the gears of destiny turned in a slightly different way, his enemies would have been comrades, and his comrades' enemies. This is the fate of a mercenary. He was spiritually worn down back then, and feeling unbearably lonely. As a possessor of eternal life, Kaim had no fear of death, which was precisely why each of the soldiers' faces distorted in fear, and why each face of a man who died in agony was burned permanently into his brain. Ordinarily, he would spend nights on the road drinking, immersing himself in an alcoholic stupor, or pretending to. He was trying to make himself forget the unforgettable. When, however, he saw Hannah smile as she begged him for stories about his long journey, he felt a far warmer and deeper comfort than he could ever obtain from liquor. He told her many things, about a beautiful flower he discovered on the battlefield, about the bewitching beauty of the mist filling the forest the night before the final battle, about the marvelous taste of the spring water in a ravine where he and his men had fled after losing a battle, about a vast, bottomless blue sky he saw after battle. He never told her anything sad. He kept his mouth shut about the human ugliness and stupidity he witnessed endlessly on the battle. He concealed his position as a mercenary from her, kept silent regarding his reasons for traveling constantly, and spoke only of things that were beautiful and sweet and lovely. He sees now that he told Hannah only beautiful stories of the road like this, not so much out of concern for her purity, but for his own sake. Staying in the inn where Hannah waited to see him turned out to be one of Kaim's small pleasures in life. Telling her about the memories he brought back from his journeys, he felt some degree of salvation, however slight. 5 years, 10 years, his friendship with the girl continued. Little by little, she neared adulthood, which meant that, as the doctors had predicted, each day brought her that much closer to death. And now, Kaim ends the last travel story he will share with her. He can never see her again, can never tell her stories again. Before dawn, when the darkness of night is at its deepest, long pauses enter into Hannah's breathing. The frail thread of her life is about to snap as Kaim and her parents watch over her. The tiny light that had lodged in Kaim's breath will be extinguished. His lonely travels will begin again tomorrow, his long, long travels without end. You'll be leaving on travels of your own soon, Hannah, Kaim tells her gently. You'll be leaving for a world that no one knows, a world that has never entered into any of the stories you have heard so far. Finally, you will be able to leave your bed and walk anywhere you want to go. You'll be free. He wants her to know that death is not sorrow but a joy, mixed with tears. It's your turn now. Be sure and tell everyone about the memories of your journey. Her parents will make that same journey someday. And someday Hannah will be able to meet all the guests she had known at the inn far beyond the sky. I, however, can never go there. I can never escape this world. I can never see you again. This is not goodbye. It's just the start of your journey. He speaks his final words to her. We'll meet again. His final lie to her. Hannah makes her departure. Her face is transfused with a tranquil smile, as if she had just said, "See ya soon." Her eyes will never open again. A single tear glides slowly down her cheeks. End. Alright, so that was 1,000 Years of Dreams. We're not going to do the tutorial there. And I'm probably going to move 1,000 Years of Dreams to the end of this video, or to its own separate video. If I do that, I'll leave a link in the description to make sure that after you finish with this, you'll be able to hear it. I don't know, maybe I'll include it, and if I did, this conversation will seem quite silly to you. I think I'm going to have to hear it for myself before I make that decision. But isn't it interesting, the stories that an endless life can bring? I didn't want to open that, but that works. There's a sparkly here. Okay. Kind of changes the depth of this story. It teaches of the stark depression that seeing everyone die around you must have. Alright, so we have an accessory. Increase magical and physical defense during critical HP status. Learning progress, 0 out of 8. Alright. Let's head downstairs. More seeds. Let's make sure we get everything before we save. The antidote. 'Tis locked, my friends. Alright. So, as you probably guessed, I took some time to listen to the audio. And I have decided to keep the dreams read aloud in the video. I'll provide time skips from here on out, so that if you'd like to skip the dreams as they come up, you can click on them in the description, as you probably already noticed. That's convenient. So, with that said, tell me what you think of that. Because this is really your Let's Play just as much as it's mine. It was requested by the viewers. It was responded to by the viewers. So many of you joined in. So many of you subscribed. And I am indeed grateful for that. Okay, so we're at this park. Now this park, during the long Lost Odyssey intro on the tram, I believe this park was the park. Yes, there it is. That was in the little cutscene. That's fun. Little cat. Alright. I love the hidden items in this. I think it was in Final Fantasy IX, that the hidden items started getting those exclamation marks. Oh, we're gonna have another memory. So again, if this isn't your thing, I'll leave a description, or I'll leave a link in the description of where to skip next. A dream has been revealed. White flowers. Lovely white flowers mark the town. They bloom on every street corner, not in beds or fields set aside for their cultivation, but blending naturally and in profusion with every row of houses, as though the buildings and the blossoms have grown up together. The season is early. Spring and snow still lingers on the nearby mountains, but the stretch of ocean that gently laps the town's southern shore is bathed in refulgent sunlight. This is an old and prosperous harbor town. Even now, each day, its piers see many cruise ships and freighters come and go. Its history, however, is sharply divided between the time before and the time after, an event that happened one day long ago. People here prefer not to talk about it. The watershed engraved upon the town's chronology. The memories are too sorrowful to make stories out of them. Kaim knows this, and because he knows it, he has come here once again. Passing through? The tavern master asks him. At the sound of his voice, Kaim responds with a faint smile. You're here for the festival, I suppose. You should take your time and enjoy it. The man is in high spirits. He has joined his customers in glass after glass until now and is quite red in the face, but no one shows any signs of blaming him for overindulging. Every seat in the tavern is filled and the air reverberates with laughter. Happy voices can be heard now and then, as well as from the road outside. The entire town is celebrating. Once each year, the festival has people making merry all night long until the sun comes up. I hope you've got a room for the night, sir. Too late to find one now. Every inn is full to overflowing. So it seems. Not that anyone would be foolish enough to spend a night like this quietly tucked away under the covers in his room. The tavern master winks at Kaim as if to say, not you, sir, I'm sure. Tonight we're going to have the biggest, wildest party you've ever seen, and everybody's invited, locals or not. Drink, food, gambling, women. Just let me know what you want. I'll make sure you have it. Kaim sips his drink and says nothing, because he is planning to stay awake all night. He has not taken a room, though he has no plans to enjoy the festival either. Kaim will be offering up a prayer at the hour before dawn, when the night is at its darkest and deepest. He will leave the town, sent off by the morning sun as it pokes its face up between the mountains and the sea, just as he did at the time of his last visit. Back then, the tavern master, who a few minutes ago was telling one of his regular customers that his first grandchild is about to be born, was himself just an infant. This one's on me. Drink up, says the tavern master, filling Kaim's shot glass. He peers at Kaim suspiciously and says, You did come for the festival, didn't you? No, not really, says Kaim. Don't tell me you didn't know about it. You mean you came here by pure chance? Afraid so. Well, if you came here on business, forget it. You'll never get serious talk out of anybody on a special night like this. The tavern master goes on to explain what is so special about this night. You must have heard something about it. Once, a long, long time ago, this town was almost completely destroyed. There are two kinds of events that divide history into before and after. One is the birth or death of something, some great personage, a hero, or a savior. The other is something like a war, or plague, or natural disaster. What divided this town's history into before and after was a violent earthquake. It happened without warning and gave the soundly sleeping people out of town, or of the town, no chance to flee. A crack opened up in the earth with a roar, and roads and buildings just fell to pieces. Fires started, and they spread in the twinkling of an eye. Almost everyone was killed. You probably can't imagine it. All I know is what they taught me in school. And what does a resurrection festival mean to a kid? It was just something that happened once upon a time. I live here, and that's all it means to me. So a traveler like you probably can't even begin to imagine what it's like. Is that what they call this holiday? Resurrection Festival? Uh-huh. The town was resurrected from a total ruin into this. That's what the celebration is about. Kaim gives the man a grim smile and sips his liquor. What's so funny? The tavern master asks. Last time I was here, they were calling it Earthquake Memorial Day. It wasn't a festival for this kind of wild celebrating. What are you talking about? It's been Resurrection Festival ever since I was a kid. That was before you were old enough to remember anything? Huh? And before that, they called it Consolation of the Spirits. They'd burn a candle for each person who died and prayed for for them to rest in peace. It was a sad festival. Lots of crying. You sound as if you saw it happening yourself. I did. The tavern master laughs with a loud snort. You look sober, but you must be blasted out of your mind. Now listen, it's festival night, so I'm going to let you off the hook for pulling my leg. But don't say stuff like that in front of the other townspeople. Wow. I don't even know where I went there. All of our ancestors, mine included, are the ones who barely escaped with their lives. Kaim knows full well what he's doing. He never expected the man to believe him. He just wanted to find out for himself whether the townspeople were still handing down the memories of the tragedy, whether deep down behind their laughing faces there still lingered the sorrow that had been passed down from their forefathers' time. Called away by one of his other customers, the tavern master leaves Kaim's side, but not without first delivering a warning. Be careful what you say, sir. That kind of nonsense can get you in trouble. Really, think about it. The earthquake happened all of 200 years ago. Kaim does not answer him. Instead, he sips his liquor in silence. Among the ones who died in the tragedy 200 years ago were his wife and daughter. Of all the dozens of wives and hundreds of children that Kaim has had in his eternal life, the wife and child he had here were especially unforgettable. In those days, Kaim had a job at the harbor. There were just 3 of him. 3 of them. He, his wife, and their little girl. They lived simply and happily. The same kind of days that had preceded today would continue on into endless tomorrows. Everyone in the town believed that, including Kaim's wife and daughter, of course. But Kaim knew differently. Precisely because his own life was long ago without end, and he had consequently tasted the pain of countless partings, Kaim knew all too well that in the daily life of humans there was no forever. This life, his family, was leading would have to end sometime. It could not go on unchanged. This was by no means a cause for sorrow, however. Denied a grasp upon forever. Human beings knew how to love and cherish the here and now. Kaim especially loved to show his daughter flowers. The more fragile and short-lived, the better. Flowers that bloomed with the morning sun and scattered before the sun went down. They were everywhere in the harbor town. Lovely white flowers that bloomed in early spring. His daughters loved the flowers. She was a gentle child who would never break off of blossoms that had struggled so bravely to bloom. Instead, she simply watched them for hours at a time. That year, too. Look how big the buds are. They'll be blooming any time now, she said happily when she found the white flowers on the road near the house. Tomorrow, maybe? Kaim wondered aloud. Absolutely, his wife chimed in merrily. Get up early tomorrow morning and have a look. Poor little flowers, though, said the daughter. It's nice when they bloom, but then they wither right away. All the better, said Kaim's wife. It's good luck if you see them see them blooming. That makes it more fun. Well, can't talk. It may be fun for us, answered the girl, but think about the poor flowers. They work so hard to open up, and they wither that same day. It's sad. Well, yes, I guess so. A momentary air of sadness flowed into the room, but Kaim quickly dispelled it with a laugh. Happiness is not the same thing as longevity, he proclaimed. What does that mean, Papa? It may not bloom for long, but the flower's happy if it can open up the prettiest blossom and give off the sweetest perfume it knows how to make while it is blooming. The girl seemed to be having trouble grasping this and simply nodded with a little sigh. She then broke into a smile and said, It must be true if you say so, Papa. Your smile is more beautiful than any flower in full bloom. He should have said it to her. Kaim later regretted that he had not. The words he had uttered so carelessly, he came to realize, turned out to be something of a prophecy. Well now, young lady, he said, if you're getting up early to see the flowers tomorrow morning, you'd better go to bed right now. All right, Papa, if I really have to. I'm going to go to bed now too, said Kaim's wife. Okay then. Good night, Papa, his wife said to Kaim. Good night, dear. His wife said to Kaim, "Good night, dear. I really am going to bed now." "Good night," Kaim replied, enjoying one last cup to ease the day's fatigue. These turned out to be the last words the family shared. A violent earthquake struck the town before dawn. Kaim's house collapsed in a heap of rubble. Kaim's two loved ones departed for that distant other world, before they could awaken from their deep sleep, and without ever having a chance to say good morning to him. The morning sun rose on a town that had been destroyed in an instant. Amid the rubble, the flowers were blooming, the white flowers that Kaim's daughter had wanted so badly to see. Kaim thought to lay a flower in offering on his daughter's cold corpse, but abandoned the idea. He could not bring himself to pick a flower. No one, no living being on the face of the earth, he realized, had the right to snatch the life of a flower that possessed the life for only one short day. Kaim could never say to his daughter, "You'll go first to heaven and wait for me." You go first to heaven and wait for me. I can't talk. Kaim could never say to his daughter, "You go first to heaven and wait for me. I'll be there before long." Nor would he ever know the joy of reunion with his loved ones. To live for 1,000 years meant bearing the pain of 1,000 years of parting. Kaim continued his long journey. A dizzying number of years and months flowed by. Years and months during which numberless wars and natural calamities scourged the earth. People were born, and they died. They loved each other, and were parted from the ones they loved. There were joys beyond measure, and sorrows just as measureless. People fought and argued without end, but they also loved and forgave each other endlessly. Thus was history built up as the tears of the past evolved gradually into prayers for the future. Kaim continued his long journey. After a while, he rarely thought about the wife and daughter with whom he had spent those few short days in the harbor town. He never forgot them. Kaim continued his journey, and in the course of his travels, he stopped by this harbor town again. As the night deepened, the din of the crowds only increased, but now, as a hint of light comes into the eastern sky, without a signal from anyone, the noise gives way to silence. Kaim had been standing in the town's central square. The revelers, too, have found their way here one at a time, until almost before he knows it, the stone-paved plaza is filled with people. Kaim feels a tap on the shoulder. "I didn't expect to find you here," says the tavern master. When Kaim gives him a silent smile, the tavern master looks somewhat embarrassed and says, "There's something I forgot to tell you before." "Oh?" "Well, you know, the earthquake happened a long time ago, before my father and mother's time, even before my grandparents' generation. It might sound so funny for me to say this, but I can't imagine this town in ruins." "I know what you mean." "I do think, though, that there are probably things in this world you can remember, even if you haven't actually experienced them. Like the earthquake. I haven't forgotten it. And I'm not the only one. It may have happened 200 years ago, but nobody in this town has ever forgotten it. We can't imagine it. but we can't forget it either. Just as Kaim nods again to signal his understanding of the tavern keeper's words, a somber melody echoes throughout the square. This is the hour when the earthquake destroyed the town. All the people assembled here close their eyes, clasp their hands together, and offer up a prayer. The tavern master and Kaim among them. To Kaim's closed eyes come the smiling faces of his dead wife and daughters. Why are they so beautiful and so sad? These faces that believe with all their hearts that tomorrow is sure to come. The music ends. The morning sun climbs above the horizon, and everywhere throughout the town blooms countless white flowers. In 200 years, the white flowers have changed. The scientists have hypothesized that the earthquake may have changed the nature of the soil itself, but no one knows the cause for sure. The lives of the flowers have lengthened. Where before they would bloom and wither in the space of a single day, now they hold their blooms for 3 and 4 days at a time, moistened by the dew of night, bathed in the light of the sun. The white flowers strive to live their lives to the fullest, beautifying the town, as if striving to live out the portion of life denied to those whose tomorrows were snatched away from them forever. Okay, well that was emotional. Remember that nameplate we picked up? Looks like we're giving it back. Alright. That's fun. Okay, so sorry about how I started that 1,000-year dream. I wanted to do something different and it clearly didn't work. I apologize and I will not do it again. At least not unless specifically asked to do it again. More treasure. The ball. Let's see if we can keep the ball back there. That was a fail. Oh, yeah, that really did just hit me. Let's keep going though. Get you already. More seeds. Gongora's mansion garden. Alright, anything over there? Okay. So we're going to be back here. Okay, as many of you have probably guessed, that was me attempting to go back and listen to the audio as I've been doing throughout this. And I had to stop and re-record and re-edit the second dream. It was that terrible. I apologized before about having you go through it. I apologize for even attempting to have you go through it. And let me tell you what was wrong with it. Since you won't get the opportunity to hear it unless I receive overwhelming demand for a blooper reel, in which case that's on your heads. And that is, since the second story had somewhat of a poetic feel, it was a test to see if I could turn it into verse. And it failed. It failed horribly.
Sorry. Look out.
Oh!
Sorry, miss.
I remember him. I don't remember his name, but I remember him. He's following us. Oh. He's following us.
Wait, let go! My throat! Damn!
Why are you following me?
I think it begins with a J.
You're Kaim Argonar! I mean, Lord Gongora asked me to do it! It's the truth! I'm supposed to tell you to go to his manor. He has something important to tell you!
I was just there.
You are? Jansen, messenger for Lord Gongora. At your service.
Jansen.
Man, what an
I
attitude.
guessed it. I thought he
Jeez
was
whiz.
a Jasper or something. Alright, so back we go, but is this a poster we can pull down? It is. It's 10 gold. Hello, puppy. Looks like we got everything else in here, we just missed the poster. Did I go in here? Sorry, the re-editing took quite some time. So I got somewhat distracted. But I'm back in it. Trying to get you what you need. Interesting remembering. You what you need to enjoy this game. And of course, if you've been skipping ahead to the timestamps, then you are completely oblivious and perhaps should reconsider your decision. Did I miss that? No. Looks like they just reset. Play the bells. As I am amused by character interactivity. Probably don't know it, but that was probably a little bit of a tech demo to show that a game could have your character interact flawlessly with the environment. And then they just probably left it in. Showed it to their bosses, showed it to some investors. I don't know, but it seems like it's plausible. Oh, I was just here. I now have permission from a Jansen. Oh. Hey. Story time.
house arrest is going too far. I have firmly opposed Roxian on this. Do not despair, Gongora.
He reminds me of Anduin from Warcraft. Anduin's new
Thank
model.
you, Your Majesty. It is much more than I could have asked. Your father would have been pleased.
I could never fill my father's shoes. And now that Ura is a republic, I am simply a citizen like everyone else. I am no longer Your Majesty.
Okay. So, unless my intercultural skills are wrong, Majesty is only reserved for the ruling monarch. So, he would be King Tolton if it were not a republic. And with that, yeah, maybe Anduin should remind me of him.
I respect the royal blood that flows in your veins. It is only fitting that I offer the respect you're due.
Indeed, Gongora.
Do not be foolish. People will think you're a dissident who wants to restore the monarchy.
I'm truly happy that you have come to see me. You've always been so kind.
You taught me the rudiments of magic. I cannot help but be kind to you in return. I cannot understand Roxian. I believe he intends to stop work on Grand Staff.
Is that his casual wear? I mean, he's visiting Gongora in a non-official capacity. He is not Royal Majesty, and he's wearing gold armor glittering with gemstones, presumably diamonds. Dude, I want to be a former king.
It makes me angry, Gongora. Our entire nation has benefited from magic energy, yet he does not understand the significance of Grand Staff. If we can increase magic energy with Grand Staff, just think how much better our people's lives would be.
Seems like he is completely won over by Gongora's vision.
We would no longer need soldiers. You have seen the future of Ura, and how Grand Staff can make it happen. Roxian's vision is too narrow for our nation to grow. I am sorry you had to witness that.
There is no need to apologize. I'm happy Your Highness understands. But even if they stop Grand Staff, we could develop a newer and far better magic engine.
Please let me know what you need, Gongora. I can help you.
I am unworthy, Your Highness.
And he still has bodyguards. He might not be king, but I bet he still is officially protected. Passing by, looks at Kaim. But since he's in the know about the council, I bet you he's in the know about Kaim.
Go in.
Oh, that's not his bodyguard. Okay. I don't know. I could still be right. I could be wrong. I hear that I'm wrong all the time. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to talk to you and Miss Rand. Alright. I love the echoing. If you sit and listen, especially if you have headphones in, you can hear the air just moving. And with each step, it's almost as if it's parting that air in a burst of sound. Alright. Enough melodrama for me. Ah! Didn't want to go there yet.
That woman. How could she be in Ura without me knowing?
Which woman? I know which woman. I remember that much. What did I say which woman? For your benefit. something. Another seed. Seriously, with how common seeds are, I should remember what they're for. But I do not. Just taking these, I'm sure that Mr. Gongora would gladly give them to me, so that my mission might succeed. Yes, yes, that is it. I must have a successful mission. Who can tell that I am now recording this after 3 a.m. Anything up here? The more I play this game, the more familiar it feels. Oh, nothing suspicious about that. Okay, time to go up. Oh, yeah. Running, running, running. Missing lots of stuff. That is quite alright. Hello, Gongora. Here as requested.
Good, you're here. I asked you here for only one reason.
Jansen.
Hold on.
What is it?
Oh no. Great, here he comes. Hey, whoa,
That could have been
hey,
unfortunate.
hey, you are really short-tempered. Hey, I don't have a sword, okay? Easy.
Why are you here?
I told you I'm just a messenger. I came to see if you really come or not, which you have, so that's good.
That's enough, Kaim. He's on our side.
Thanks. A little late, though.
We can use him. He's cunning and quick, and he has many connections. I want you to take him on your investigation of Grand Staff.
No way, sir.
You know, I thought he'd say that, my lord. His shoes, hello?
Look, this other immortal joining the investigation, she might be dangerous.
Why?
The woman was once a pirate. I don't know how it happened, but she's now a soldier for our army. Well, the past is the past, and I know little else about her. Take Jensen with you. He can help keep her in check. Despite what else he may be, he has a healthy respect for women.
So, you know, I heard she was a looker, if you catch my drift. I mean, you've seen her, right? Okay, be that way. You guys are way too serious.
Pirate.
You know,
All right. Understood.
I put this out to many of you.
All right, then. I'll be there early.
on social
Oh, yeah,
media.
you can count on it.
And so
Remember,
many people
Kaim,
found Jensen annoying.
You're the only one I can trust.
I kind of like him. I'm weird.
I can't leave here for a while. The Grand Staff is my life's work. So if something is wrong, I want you, with your immortal powers, to find out what it is. Understood? You'll be briefed later. You should go now.
I'll be right behind you. Oh, he's gonna be fun to work with.
This is for your trouble.
Wow, nice. You know, my lord, I've been thinking, working with this guy, it's like playing with fire. I mean, did you see his eyes? I mean, that's creepy. I got a bad feeling about this whole thing. I mean, this little guarantee is not gonna be enough, I'm afraid, to keep an eye on him. You're gonna have to give me a little bit more, you know what I'm saying?
You're already under a magic contract. Don't get greedy.
Whoa, hey, okay, that's some serious mojo, buddy. Easy, easy.
Is your fee still unsatisfactory?
Okay, not funny. I'm not laughing, okay? I didn't stick my neck out for this, okay? Jeez, everyone's a pain in the ass. I'm taking a bath.
And we get to see a little bit of Gengora's bruiser style. I was talking about sound. With all that machinery sound work in the center room, I'd have liked to hear maybe a little bit of echoing in here. I can imagine, unless there's soundproofing technology or magic, that it would permeate. But maybe not. I'm good. Alright. Before we save, let's just take a little bit of a look at what we have. So we have Crisis Defense Boost, Berserker Necklace, Crisis Attack Boost, Crisis Defense, and Factual Analysis. If I remember correctly, the mortals will get to learn these abilities. And then that will somehow transfer over to the immortals, but I don't remember. And if you would like to see, then we are going to ask that you just check back with us for our next episode. I'm really excited to get out of town and get on our mission. We're going to be visiting Grandstaff, maybe, or at least get on our way, travel by map. And so as we come to the end, if you want to make sure that you stay caught up with episodes 3, 4, 5 in the foreseeable future, make sure that you're subscribed, hit that bell notification, that way you get every episode as it comes out. If you've liked this, go ahead and give us that thumbs up. Leave a comment if you have something you want to discuss, something you want to ask. I'll be happy to respond to those. In the meantime, I'm Ndonosci. As always, have fun.